It's your girl B Nova. Heard you. Yeah. That's what's up, yo. Heard you. Yeah. Excellerant.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Excellerant, and this is an interview series created out of curiosity and dedicated to learning about exceptional entrepreneurs in their crafts. So our motto is to learn, celebrate, and inspire. So we're learning about exceptional people in their crafts. We're celebrating these people, and hopefully we'll be inspiring some others to pursue something new or something else on their own. My name is Nova. Thank you, everybody, for being here with me tonight. This is our first live episode and the first episode of the new year, so that's exciting. One of my favorite dynamics about shooting the show is actually being on location with people. If you've tuned into some episodes in the past, you'll see like I was at the fire station, all that jazz, but it's cold. And obviously just for just to err on the side of caution with everything going on, we just decided to utilize technology and do this live. And actually tonight's topic is the perfect opportunity to have an audience, because we're going to be talking about politics. And politics is the Greek term, hold on, I did my knowledge, for affairs of the city, governance of a county or area. So it's kind of like a town hall, you know? So if you all didn't realize before, if you have any questions, hold on to those towards the end. If time permits, then you guys can go ahead and ask Jamell some questions. And also, just a note that I know everybody has their reservations about politics and the government tonight. So tonight isn't about choosing sides or swaying opinions. Tonight is solely about gaining insight, perspective on how things work, and to hopefully help us effectively strive for change. Keyword effective. We have to know what's going on. You know, I have my own reservations as well, but we have to know what's going on with our government, no matter how we may feel about it, so that we can start striving for change. So that is why I've asked tonight's guest to join us. He's extremely involved in politics. We actually went to school together. We went to Brooklyn College, shout out to CUNY, and we took a class called, what was it called? Political correctness in the Black community, something like that. I should know. But but rightfully so, I would be involved in a class with politics with him. And since then, like, he's been true to what he said. You know, he's extremely involved in the community. He's basically dedicated his life around public service. He has 2 degrees in political science. Okay, he has a master's in public administration from the National Urban Fellows Graduate Program from Baruch. So accolades on deck. Okay, he was a candidate for the New York City Council, 41st District of Brooklyn. He actually taught at Brooklyn College. Okay, excuse me, I had no idea. Apparently he taught 2 classes. I did my research. He was part of a mentorship program in Indianapolis under the mayors out there. He is the regional board chair for Citizen Action of New York. We're going to talk more about all of that. So this is exactly why I invited him. I feel like the resume is resumeing, and he has the accolades, he has the experience, and it's important, especially in a dynamic where we don't know who to believe. I thought it'd be important to, you know, reach out to somebody who's actually in the field and is just not online just talking about it. So let's invite Jamell up. Jamell, whenever you're ready, I will invite you onto the platform. Let me see, is there a way that I can do it? Oh, I can do it myself. Gosh, who knew I'd be at this age where I'm like, what do we do? Okay. I think I did. Oh, perfect. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Wow, it's good to see your face. It's good to be talking to you.
Yes, it is. Happy to be here. Happy New Year, everyone who's tuning in.
Yes.
I'm glad to see you all here.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm excited as well. And I would let everyone know that even if people aren't tuned in tonight, we're going to record the episode. We're going to throw it up on live. We're going to throw it up on my YouTube channel. But this is so important. I'm so happy for your time. And Yeah, I'm ready to learn some things too because I'm not gonna lie, I've totally kind of like disassociated myself with everything happening. So I'm just like, there's so much, there's a lot of political discourse. You know, we have a new mayor, we have a new president and vice president. We need to make sense of what's going on. I see so much, you know, commentary online. People have their opinions, rightfully so, but what is really happening? You know what I mean? So I thought you, sir, would be the perfect person to put us on.
Absolutely. When I get excited when I get to be in experiences like this. I decided to dress down, just be comfortable because this is part of me. This is my authentic leadership, and we're gonna have a relaxed conversation, right? And we're gonna talk about it in a straight, real way that everybody that's watching and that's sharing will understand how important and how powerful politics is. Okay? So first of all, I want to say to you, my sister, how much I love and appreciate you for all the work that you do, from being classmates to being where we are now. It's absolutely amazing. So I want to give a shout out to you and your amazing show and all the fans and supporters that are supporting you. Please continue to support because she's awesome. I'm just going to leave it at that.
And it's just because, like I said, like we went to school together. You made an impact on me then, and just following your journey, I'm like, damn, he's really about this. You know what I mean? So I'm just happy for you to be imparting some knowledge on somebody that I trust, and I think that's the
Thank
most
you.
thing. It's just like, who do we trust in this climate? So you all, hopefully, y'all could trust him through me, or at the end of the conversation, we'll provide you some information to reach out on your own if you'd like to learn some more. So let's get to it. Let's just jump into it. So, you know, why don't you just tell us a little bit about where you're from and your background?
So for those who just joined and just participating with us, my name is Jamell Henderson. I am born and raised in Brooklyn. I've carried Brooklyn in my DNA. I've traveled half the country, literally 25 states, and there's no place like New York City. There's no place like Brooklyn. This is my home. I am a proud 4-time graduate of the City University of New York, as mentioned before. I'm currently in the inaugural Doctor of Education program at the College of Staten Island, where I'll be pursuing my 5th degree in community-based leadership. I'm here on the verge of making history as being one of the only, probably the only African-American male student to acquire all 4 levels of degrees from one university here in New York City. So, and I'm doing it all while living in public housing. I live in NYCHA right here in Crown Heights. So I've been here 16 years. My CUNY story is about to be 17 years, and to acquire all 4 degrees while doing the work, while being myself, and everything that has been done in between has led to me giving back in such a unique and authentic way. And so outside of the, work of school, I'm honored to be of service as the regional board chair for the New York City chapter of Citizen Action of New York. So shout out to my Citizen Action people. We are out here currently fighting for you right now. Like this is a good time. Today, the rent eviction moratorium for those who are property owners and those who are tenants, it has expired today. So my organization and hundreds of others are fighting across the state to try to come up with some solutions, because come Monday, housing court is going to be chaos.
Ooh, child.
Okay.
Ooh, child. This is important. This is important. Wow. So I want you also to elaborate a little later more about citizen action and let the people know how they can be involved. So is that your primary title right now? Or are you just primarily working with citizen action and you're on the board and you're making action?
Yes, I am. Right now, I'm in between work. I'm, hopefully get some new key senior leadership roles, because it's about stepping up. But right now, my devotion is to my citizen action family, and we're doing just phenomenal work.
Amazing. And that's really all that matters. I think we've all been in transitions, especially these past couple of years. It's been crazy. So it's just amazing to know that despite everything, and same, I come from Bayview houses, born and raised in Brooklyn and in projects, you know what I'm saying? So it's just it's good to see my fellow people really doing it big. And what I love about you is just that no matter what adversity, you just still decided you know what, I'm gonna be for the people. So that's amazing. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about your career journey and how did you initially get started in politics, period?
So that's a great question. Politics started for me when I was a little boy. My father, the late Warren Lee Henderson, he was the one that really started the foundation. The way that I speak now, the way I am able to lead, it started from my father. I was watching Black political thought shows as a child, from Tony Brown's Journal to Like It Is, to listening to Night Talk with Dr. Bob Law, Imhotep Gary Bird. These were like foundational talk shows that we watched and listened to as children. And as a kid, being the youngest of three, we're all 1 year apart, so 83, 84, 85. And realizing how, as a kid, I was concerned about what was going on in the community. I remember as a kid, my first experience of seeing racial discrimination, which was the Rodney King incident. And I remember briefly the Crown Heights riots, because growing up in East Flatbush, you didn't cross Empire Boulevard because Crown Heights going up, it was crazy. It was crazy. So my borderline was Empire Boulevard. After that, I didn't know what was going on the other side. This is real Brooklyn stories. You know what I'm talking about. And I would just remember asking my father the questions like, why is there so much hatred? Why are people angry at us? Like, what did we do? You know, we chilling. I'm a little kid on the block playing Scully and using milk crates. It's like, where does all this happen? And then I started to learn my history at a very early age. And that was the spark that began to initiate what I wanted to do. I said, I even want to become a successful lawyer. I want to become the president of the United States. And at 36, the dream to become president is still prevalent. It has never died. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I could tell you all this, that along the journey, I didn't see coaching in the atmosphere. I did not see me being a professor in the atmosphere. I did not see me being a club promoter. Y'all don't understand the leadership that's in the atmosphere. I didn't see myself speaking behind the sacred desk at over 60 congregations. Y'all don't understand. Like, so when I tell you, I'm trusting the process, I'm trusting the process, and I will get there. And so that has been my concern of the community and the upliftment of my people. Because at the end of the day, none of this matters if my people are not successful. No matter, and when they say everybody Black, I mean, even the ones that are ignorant to realize that they're Black. Okay.
Talk about it. That's amazing. I'm just so enthralled. I'm just like, oh, that's amazing. And just like you said, you just got to trust time. And if it counts for anything, like just again, watching your journey, living vicariously through you, even on Facebook, just seeing things. I'm like, oh wow, like he's really progressing. So you have made that progress. Like when I saw, because again, I was doing my research, I was like, he taught a whole class, so it's
still surreal. It's still surreal.
I'm so proud of you. Like seriously, it's refreshing for nothing more than just like the fact that you are putting talk to action. You know what I'm saying? It's great that we do have social media. There are many pros and cons to it. However, some people just stop at the talking points and they don't understand that there is a world outside and that you have to sometimes do the hard work to make it happen. So we need people like you. And I'm just hoping this conversation can inspire some other people to work alongside you, seriously. So you mentioned being president. I remember you saying that. I'm like, this man said he wants to be president of the United States, and it's possible. It's possible. So I would say that that's your ultimate goal. And one of the questions I do have is, since you've been in this journey, has it been anything like you thought it would be? How you start something, you're like, I want to do this. Damn, I still have aspirations to get my JD, like get my law degree, but then life, has gotten in the way. So has the journey been anything like that?
It has been 100% completely different, which is what I've asked for as a young child. Because I remember when I would talk to early elected officials and all that when I was a teen, and everybody would say, you got to go to law school, you got to go to Ivy League, you got to be in the military. And I said, why? Why do I have to do that? Why can't I do it my own way? And that's what has happened. To be able to say all my education is right here in the city of New York, to be able to say that, this kid from Brooklyn was able to travel half the country while living in NYCHA. Like I just started the year. I started 2021 last year in Hawaii.
Nice.
That's something. People from the hood, they watch that from Price is Right. I actually went. Like, it doesn't make sense how it happens. That's the beautiful thing about it. It doesn't make sense. And it doesn't mean that everything that I did was great. I've made tons of mistakes that I own. I've done wrong. I did things that should not have happened. But the beautiful part about this process is that I did not choose to accept the stopping point because of my mistakes. I said, I'm going to keep going and keep pushing. This is someone who's lost his parents. This is someone who's been in foster care. I could have easily allowed that to be the excuse for me to be a gang member and everything like that. But I decided to turn that pain into power, which unfortunately not a lot of people can do. And I try to lead by example by saying you can have fun, do the work, and pursue your goals and dreams in your own special way.
That's so important. That's just so inspirational, you know, because just like you said, and us both growing up in, you know, public housing, I've seen some brilliant people, like their lives turned out completely different or bad, or just not, you know, a downtrodden role. So I asked too, since we stopped like going to school together, how did you, from being undergrad, obviously you're still pursuing your degrees and everything like that, what was the next step for you? And this is just a question for people that just might be interested. Say somebody's about to graduate, you know, with their bachelor's and poli-sci. Then what should
First and foremost, I would tell anybody that's getting ready to graduate from undergrad, I mean, you're about to pursue a bachelor's degree or an associate's, that be very clear on what it is that you want to do. And if you don't know, give yourself the space to be open to looking at the little pieces of the puzzle, which will help you on your journey to figure out what it is that you want to do. So in other words, think about the things that get you excited. What makes you talk about a said subject for longer than 20 minutes? When you see it on your TV or you read about it, what gives you that adrenaline rush? Identify those things, and then you will be able to go forward to the next step. Like, I was very fortunate to know my political career path and where I was going, right? But even with school, I wasn't too sure where I was going because I was going to continue on at Brooklyn College. But I'm fortunate to have some very amazing, powerful mentors in my life, you know? And at that time, I want to give a big, big shout out to my good mentor, Dr. Frank Sanchez, who was the former vice chancellor for student affairs. He is now the president of Rhode Island University. Nice. It was him who introduced me to the National Urban Fellows Graduate Program, because I think, again, you got to speak about what it is that you want. And one of the things that I said when he asked me that question when I was getting ready to graduate, I was like, I want something that's going to, you know, my godbrother used to say to me, like, get you out of your comfort zone, be disciplined, and go the extra mile. And so I would say for those who are looking to go to grad school, look at those three things. Find a program that's going to discipline you, because it's going to be totally different from undergrad. Go the extra mile and go above and beyond. Like, you got to get out your comfort zone and you will be able to do it. So that's how it was for me.
Amazing. And I want to say also, as a CUNY graduate, a lot of people sleep on CUNY and SUNY. You understand me? When I graduated from from high school, I'm not going to lie, I had all the scholarship, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to lie, at the time, I wasn't really ready. I went to Bishop Lockman, so I worked so hard. And so I kind of wanted some time off. And then also in our community, it's a little bit frowned upon to like take some time off. That's a whole conversation for another time. A lot of IUPs, they encourage you to take some time off. But growing up, it's like we just have to really get right to it. But I'm so happy that I ultimately decided to go to a CUNY school. You know what I'm saying? Because I got an amazing education. The class sizes were amazing. Like, even though it's right in Flatbush right there, when you walk on the campus, it's a completely different experience. So for those of you who are thinking about your education, fine. If you want to do Ivy Leagues, that's great. But please do not sleep on CUNY and SUNY. Like, you can make it happen. Seriously.
Yes, you can. I tell people, the years that I did at BMCC and Brooklyn College, I can easily match that to any student that has had the best time at an HBCU or an Ivy League. And I got pictures, documents, faculty, and staff to prove how mixy I was
It's what you
but
make.
still getting the work done. Come on.
Make it. So that was just a sidebar. Just to some CUNY people. Seriously, yes. Like CUNY is it. SUNY is it. It doesn't have to be these $40,000 a year. Bugging. Anyway.
Right.
I mean, if you got it, great. But bugging. So okay. So you already knew that you wanted to be in politics. So how would you, someone that's not really sure, how would somebody go about finding a mentor, or what would your advice be as far as in school on how to get some help, figuring out what to do?
First of all, you got to be clear on what your definition of mentor means for you. See, for mentorship, what that means for me is that I want to surround myself with the best authentic leaders that is going to keep it real with me, and I get to watch them show that same authenticity by executing their leadership, right? And that type of mentorship is very, very small, especially in the work that I do, because everybody ain't authentic, And so I would say to you all, identify the people that you want to learn from, and don't be afraid to go for it. I'll tell people who I have the honor of mentoring, we don't got time to ask the middle person. I like to tell people, I move like James St. Patrick. I go for the top. You got to move and think like a connect. And it's the same exact way in politics, right? So my source is you, the people. It is my charismatic, authentic leadership. I have something that they have, because those people that are in politics who forget who and how authentic they are, they don't know how to penetrate our spaces. So guess who they need? People like me, who can go out there and lead a charge, get a victory, and still go to the club and have a good time, because I understand that these are voters who are working hard and just want to have a good time. So surround yourself with the people that's going to excel you and go for the top. Don't go for the middleman.
That's true. Honestly, he's so right. Like, you really just have to come out of your comfort zone. Every opportunity I've gotten, internships, anything, I literally just ask.
Yeah.
The worst the person's going to say is no. But he asked these people. I worked at a hair salon, and a woman came in. She was like, in PR. I literally just asked her. I said, I need an internship. I'm into like media, and she gave it to me. So, two different things, but all you have to do is literally put yourself out there and believe in yourself and step out your comfort zone. Even if that means sending an email. If you're a little about the face-to-face thing, like, it's literally about that. So, love to hear it. So let's get into some basics about the government. Let's go back to U.S. government a little bit, because that's the thing. A lot of people are grossly misinformed about how the government works. So one of my basic questions that I had for you this evening was, what are the branches of government and what are they responsible for? Just briefly.
So we're going to go straight basic. But before I get to that, I want to say something to everyone out there that says that politics sucks, is not for me or everything. Let me explain something to you. Politics affects every single damn thing that you do. Everything. Everything. You don't believe me? Let's look at the basics. The word compromise. You compromise all the time. On your job, in your relationships. Hello. Right? You make deals. It's the same thing that they do in government. Right? You present one side, another side, you meet in the middle. You vote. You have a democracy on things. Hey guys, where are we going? Where are we going to go out tonight? All right, let's take a vote. That's democracy. That's part of your everyday politics. The problem is it wasn't presented to you in the way that it's supposed to, because when you hear the word politics, it's so dense and it's so rigid and it's like, but realizing that it affects everything you do, from the person on the street to the C-suite. A law impacts anybody, especially if it's closer to home. So with that being said, there are three branches of government: executive, legislative, judicial. Executive, keyword, execute. The president's office. That means that office is there to execute the laws. They write it. That he or she, one day I pray that we will have a woman president. He or she will sign laws. They execute the laws. They put it out there. They also have the power to do executive actions, which bypasses particular provisions within Congress, right? Which is the second branch. Congress is the legislative branch. That is the policy arm of the government. One side is the House, the other side is the Senate, right? We know that the Senate, on the Senate side, is currently Democratic control by 50-50 tie because of Kamala Harris. She's a tiebreaker, right? Our own Chuck Schumer from Brooklyn is the U.S. Senate Majority Leader. So I want you guys to understand that just for a moment. Then you have the judicial branch, which is the United States Supreme Court. They are the ones that, unless Congress pass a new law, they interpret the final provision of whether or not said law is deemed constitutional or unconstitutional. They are solely purpose for judicial review, but their powers have been so expanded because of the dead weight of Congress that unless Congress decides to pass a new law to overturn or, bypass the decision of the court say it's fine. So those are your three basic branches of government.
Thank you. And the reason why I wanted you to elaborate on this is because I need people to understand that there is a system of checks and balances. A lot of people just gung-ho at the president, and I'm just like, well, he's just the face. There are things going on back end, you know what I mean? So again, and it ties down to also you can't make everybody happy. That's what it boils down to as well. So I wanted to go over that because I just wanted to stress, I'm sure some people know, but the people that don't know, this is not a dictatorship. The president can't just go out and just do whatever he or she wants to do. There is a system of checks and balance, which brings me to my next question. How much power does the president have?
Depends on the person. If you look at Donald Trump, he flexed a lot of power. He expanded. Several colleagues in the research department, we realize he has expanded the powers of the presidency in ways that we would have never imagined because he's done things that were so unprecedented. Research was like, can he really do that? And the mere fact that he got away with almost all of it successfully because of said checks and balances, right? So during Trump's presidency, it was a red wave before, I think, 2018, where the Democrats retained back the House. So prior to that, it was a red wave. And you've seen the stuff that they did. Now look at us now. It is a blue wave. We control the House. Democrats control the House, Senate, and Congress. And you got nothing done outside of infrastructure.
Yeah.
So I say that to say, look at the two dynamics between the presidencies. When Trump was in office, all them Republicans fell in line. No matter what he said. If he said, I want to create a breathing tax, they was like, yes, boss, let's do it.
That's a fact.
But Joe Byron, as we call him in Brooklyn,
Joe Byron.
Joe Byron can't get anything done because you letting a guy like Joe Manchin, a guy from West Virginia whose state is unfortunately one of the wastelands of this country because it's been constantly ignored by not giving those states adequate funding to thrive, is literally killing every single bill that can really help us out. Most recently, and this goes to the black voters, and I gotta say this, how important your vote is. In 2020, it was abundantly clear that black votes are extremely powerful. We make the final say, even though we are the smallest amount in the democracy. We make the final say. Joe Byron promised to pass and make sure that the voting rights bill gets done. This past Friday, I believe Thursday or Friday, Senator Kristen Sinema literally said, I'm not supporting any changes to the filibuster, to Senate rules in order to pass this bill. So in other words, as of right now, the most crucial bill that we need, which is the John L. Lewis Voting Rights Act, is dead. It's dead.
Yo,
and it's scary. It's scary.
But see,
But that's the powers of the president.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if we think of this, I'm not gonna lie, Trump was very entertaining. Maybe that's not the right way to interpret that because it's not a joke. You know what I'm saying?
It
But
is.
notice that there was a stark difference in the ways that he represented himself and the things that he was able to get away with. So that does say a lot. Okay.
And what's important about this too, what people don't talk about, the president is not just the president of the United States. He or she one day is the chairperson of their respected political party. So they got a double role. They're not just the president of the United States. So in this case, he's the president of the Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. So that means he has the final, he oversees everything. So anything that's going on, that's why everybody looks to the president as he's the person that's doing wrong, because it's under your leadership.
Right.
How so you can't get your Democrats in line.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say, because I'm like, what's going on now then? Like, why people are so upset? Because for me, with Trump, it was outrageous the way he represented himself. I mean, I was thoroughly entertained, but as far as professionalism, and people probably will say, oh, that's code switching. I personally like to represent myself with respect. Okay, it doesn't mean I'm being fake or anything like that, but just the things he was saying and doing, after a while I was like, oh, okay.
Can we talk truth now? Because I tell people this, and I said this in my class. I was like, if you look at authentic leadership, it may not be what you agree with. Mm-hmm. But I was like, you gotta give Donald Trump credit when credit. That man is a New Yorker.
Oh.
That man moves like a New Yorker. And this is what I get personally frustrated when I see people like Senator Chuck Schumer and Congressman Jeffries and many others who are from Brooklyn and from New York, and y'all not flexing. Meanwhile, Trump, who has zero political experience, he said, I don't care about none of y'all. I run this.
He literally did, and that's why it was so funny.
And you gotta respect that, right? Yeah, and look, and because of that, and because of the power of New Yorkers, we know how to move. We don't time for BS. He had his whole party in line. He's not even in office right now, and they're still glorifying him.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this looks like it's going to be a one-term president.
Yeah.
And I can say that with quite confidence, because I don't see how we're going to win back the House and Senate in the balance of power this year, because this year is what's called the midterm election. So the balance of power in the House is on the line. Okay. Right? Clearly, we're not going to get back the Senate. That is a done deal. It's done. We will hold on to the House, but maybe by a small margin. But the Senate, forget it. It's
why
done.
Back?
Because we can't get the Senate back because of two people. Senator Joe Manchin and Senator Kristen Sinema of Arizona. Joe Manchin's from West Virginia. She's from Arizona. Every single thing that they've tried to push, they have shut it down.
Oh, I see.
Shut it down. So bills that were supposed to get passed, those who are feeling those inflation prices, I like to say, like, what's inflation? Why is oxtail $30? That's what's called inflation. Right? That's the supply chain, right? All the things that think about how much we're spending. A New York Times article literally said that the iconic 99-cent dollar pizza may no longer be a staple here in New York City no more.
Yeah, they're wilding.
Right? And so this all goes to show, like, there were bills that were supposed to get done, but because you couldn't get your people in order and in line, it's like, well, the proof is in the pudding.
That's so important that you say that. Like, now it makes more sense, because I'm not gonna lie, I was like, what's going on? Like, everybody seems all discombobulated, and I think it's the fact that people are not falling in line, and that's so important, because if you're a part of the team, you're not gonna always agree with certain things, but you have to do what's best for the greater good of the collective. So that's I just learned something new, because I really couldn't. I was like, why is everybody so, like, all over the place? But when Donald Trump, it didn't matter what he did, who he cursed out, what he said about anybody's son, everybody was just with him. Yeah. And that's because of his political party and the people in that.
And I will say this too, because this is another misnomer. I want to kill this misnomer right now. while we're talking about the federal level, and that's super important, the laws that impact you the greatest is the ones that's closer to home. In other words, the laws that get passed in your state and the ones that get passed in your city are going to affect you the fastest and the most. Okay? So it's good to pay attention what's going on up there, but if you don't know who your state governor is, if you don't know who your lieutenant governor is, if you don't know who your state controller is, the person that handles the money, if you don't know who the state attorney general is, if you don't know who if your local New York State senator or your state assembly person, if you don't know who the mayor is or the city council person, if you don't know who your borough president is, if you don't know who your district leader is, if you don't know your local community board, then everything that's happening from the state on down, you're getting impacted.
This is so important. This is the meat and potatoes, and this brings me to transition because I was just about to ask you, so what elections do we need to be paying attention to? And you just mentioned the local elections, and I'll admit too, oftentimes, like, I will not pay attention to that. I just see people pandering to me. So just go over again briefly, like, what are the key offices in our local election that we really should stand to pay more attention to?
Absolutely. I'm gonna start from home outward. Okay. So the elections you need to be paying most attention to: your state committee races, your district leader races, your judgeship races, civic court. Civil court plays a big role. Who goes on your state Supreme Court plays a big role. Who goes to the yeah, those are two big courts that I know for sure, right? Then you got your city council person. Then you got your state assembly member. Then you got your state senator. Then you have your mayor, your borough presidents, your district attorney, your local district attorney. Did you know Brooklyn is the third largest DA's office in the country, second to Manhattan, and I believe LA County is number one. We have two of the largest district attorney's offices that services in the country. Don't you think it's important to know who the DA is when our mans and them go down to central booking?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. This is so important. And how can, like, somebody like me, so now I know. I'm like, now I'm gonna be paying more attention to where can we find this information? Like, what do we do to find?
Yeah, to find this information, first and foremost, you can go to who'sontheballot.org. Okay, if you want to find that out first and foremost. So it's literally as it's spelled out, who'sontheballot.org. There's NYC votes. But I don't necessarily trust them per se. I would say look towards local, powerful grassroots organizations that are on the ground that are doing this work. So organizations like Citizen Action of New York, Vocal New York, Make the Road, Indivisible. What else? There's so many. AQE, right? There is the taxi workers. Like, there's so many organizations that will cater to every experience that you're trying to do. And we are able to provide that information, but more importantly, pay attention to the years. So, for example, last year in New York City, even though we had a mayor's race, it was technically an off year because nobody paid attention. Look at the election result numbers for New York City in its early voting in 2021 compared to 2020. In 2020, 1.2 million New Yorkers did early voting. This in 2021, less than maybe 200,000.
Yikes.
And then people want to get mad why we have the current mayor that we have.
We need, this is exact, because that's why I was like, let me take some accountability. Because I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know who that, whatever. Like, and then oftentimes too, some people will be like, oh, well, they're black, so a black person. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, we have to do the work, y'all. Like, it might be daunting, but this is why we're here, because we need to understand and actually to care about these things. fine, we may not have to run for office or anything like that, but we should care about what's going on so that we can have something better. So this is amazing. At the end, of course, I'm going to direct everybody to you to provide you with, these resources. I got some more questions coming in, so I'm going to get to y'all's questions as well. So can you elaborate a little bit more for us about Citizen Action of New York, especially since you're just talking about us winning and being involved?
I am super honored to be a part of Citizen Action New York. It is a powerful grassroots organization that have been impacting the state of New York since my year I was born, 1985. So 36 years, it has been out there fighting from issues to really help push the equality agenda for everyone here in the state of New York. We also know that as Citizen Action, that the causality greatly impacts Black and brown New Yorkers. We also know that if those groups succeed, the rest of the state succeed, because we understand that we all in this together. The commonalities are real. Housing is a universal New York State issue. Doesn't matter, Black, white, Democratic, or Republican, we fight for it. Marijuana for years has been one of those issues that we've been fighting for well before I was born, and now it is illegal. You got to thank all of those organizers of the past that names you will never ever hear that helped made that happen, right? Hold on. Can you hear me? Okay, there you go. I don't know what just happened, right? You got all of those. You got this organization that has fought for bail reform. I told a reporter the other day, people like, bail reform is so bad. I was like, I want you to do me a favor. Tell the 50,000 plus families who just got reunited with their loved ones because their loved one was in jail ridiculously amount of time because they couldn't pay $1,000. You tell them that. You tell them that and tell those families that. So it's the issues that we fight for. And right now, like, we currently fight for good cause. So we have branches all throughout the state. So if you know anybody across the state that want to get involved, that's what we do. And I'm honored to be of service as the, regional board chair for New York City chapter. I call it the zoo chapter because we the gritty ones. We move and we don't play. I want to give a big shout out to our entire board because we've been working so hard. The elected, one of the things we do as part of our movement is that we do endorsements, right? Okay. We endorse candidates. So this same hood bro have numbers of almost all the mayor elected candidates.
Ooh,
So think about that type of power and responsibility that I take very seriously. Because when I'm in that room, I'm thinking about all of y'all. Yeah. This ain't no pre-pledge, them days is done. I ain't doing that. I want to know how real you are.
Ooh.
And these are the type of work that we do. So we just passed good cause to resolution to be sent to the state to hopefully pass, which is what we're trying to do to prevent 1.1 million New Yorkers from being evicted, which will be a chaotic economic, social outcry for the state. I'm jealous. I don't want other states getting New Yorkers. I don't. And the mere fact that the South has gotten a busload, not because they didn't want to move, but because they can't afford it.
We cannot afford to live here. It's outrageous. Stop buying rooms for $10,000, y'all.
And we as Citizen Action are fighting that. We're fighting for true housing and really showing that we're here, that we want true affordable housing. Like the Brooklyn that I know, the Queens that you know, the Bronx that... Who are these housing for? Who's these housing units for?
And the affordable housing, when you go on the housing lotteries, first of all, the salaries for like a 1-bedroom is like $100,000. How is that affordable? So it's kind of sad going in my neighborhoods and seeing these beautiful infrastructures come up and I can't afford it. You understand? So
how about the cultural gentrification? Not just gentrification, the cultural gentrification. What do I mean by that? Why is there a 100-tall-foot tower on the Lower East Side that's shadowing all the projects? Why is there a 50-story building in the middle of East Flatbush? East Flatbush don't need that on Linden Boulevard.
Oh, somebody got money for the air rent. I heard that's a thing. Like they have to.
Yes, that is a thing. There is a thing called air rights. There is a literal thing called you're paying for air. Just think about that. Just let that marinate for a moment.
So you hear hear this, man? You understand? Like, even now, I'm like, how can I get involved? So just, if the least you could do, check out Citizen Action. You know what I'm saying? See if they have something in your area that you can be involved in. But this is so important. And let's all just try to make it a point to pay a little bit more attention to some of our local elections, because that is so true. And I love to hear, though, that you're really on them as far as like the real, because a lot of it sounds contrived. Like a lot of the times when I hear politics talk, I'm like, whatever, you just check. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, I know you have to make things sound good, but I want to know how somebody's really going to follow through. So I feel a little better, at least knowing that somebody like you is in the field. You know what I'm saying? So you really know, like, okay, you're not just trying to be president because you want, you care. Like, you from the hood, you already know. So this is just amazing. This is amazing to hear. And I'm just blown of all this information. So another question that I have are about political parties. Like, do you feel like it's necessary? Because in my personal opinion, a lot of the time, I feel like that's been a defining factor as far as just like people just focusing on that as opposed to like getting things done. So
good question.
It's your opinion, but you know, I feel like, oh, I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't like to subscribe to a political party, because what if somebody is a Democrat that I don't agree with them? You know, of course you got to just like, it goes down to falling in line. Because again, like, you know, but what if their opinion is just so completely radical that I'm like, oh, I don't really subscribe to that. I want to subscribe to the person that I feel like truly has the best interest in heart. And I often feel like a lot of the times the focus on political parties on Twitter is crazy. Like, just the nasty things people say just off the strength of somebody belonging to another political party. So how do you feel about that?
Political parties focus on power. I focus on people. Look at what's going on in government right now. Democrats are focused on power. Their strategy is to try to get bills passed to keep maintaining power. But they're not really doing anything in service of the people. That is a staunch difference. So if you ask me, do we need political parties? I do say we do, but up until a certain extent. It has gotten so far that it has become the machine. So when we think about Democratic Republican Party, it's the machine because they are designed to create robots to focus on power instead of being in true service of the people, which is why you don't see them until it's time for election year. But yet, y'all don't even realize that when it comes to your city council members, you're paying them over $150,000 in tax dollars. When it comes to your state assembly members, you're paying over $160,000 on New York State Assembly, $160,000. Your U.S. senator making over $200,000, $300,000. Our tax dollars is paying for this.
Oh, hell
So
no.
while we're broke and struggling, you're giving them that. Y'all better get up and start paying attention.
Ooh, I'm ready, because I don't like that. I want my monies, and I want it now, okay?
I want it now.
So what are your plans next? Like, what do you, of course, you know, I hate when people be like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, I hate those type of questions, but what is next for you, like, as of right now, as far as your goal and your mission to make things better?
As of right now, my immediate mission is to become the class of 2024 so I can become Dr. Jamell Henderson and become a 5-time graduate of the City University of New York. While doing that, continuing the work of being grassroots, expanding my influence across the state and across the country. I plan to continue to travel and really see the country that I'm going to lead one day, connect with the people, learn and understand, but more importantly, teach the public the importance of being civically engaged and how amazing it is. That is not as hard as you think. You just got to get it from a different mindset. Like, I saw some of the reactions when I said, what is inflation? Inflation is $30 for oxtails. That's how you got to put it. I am capable of taking the political terms and putting it into real life.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's how you connect. A political term won't mean nothing for someone on the block. Right? But if I'm able to take that, interpret and saying, hey, these policies mean that the NYPD is intentionally targeting black men, hint, hint, right? Because of a new regime that's in office, then that means you need to pay attention to what's happening. You can't sit on your block and just chill. You know what I'm saying? If the police is coming back to stop and frisk you again, how are you going to stand up? You going to let them harass you, or you going to do something about it?
Right.
Like I told a group of gang members one time, I love being around like the hood. I love it because these are the people that need the love, but more importantly, I give them a different way to think. I remember telling a group of cats one time, I said, how about, you want to show what real power looks like? Pull up at the next your next local community council precinct meeting, where you get to meet your local policing commander and their deputies, elected officials, the press, and everybody's there, and you go collectively and tell them how many times they harass you. They got to answer it right there on the spot. That's real power. You show them that not only are you out here, but you're being civically engaged, and that's what I want us to do. Be civically engaged. The power of your vote is serious. The power of knowing who's running is serious, because you're paying them all this money off rip. Would you be happy if you paid $100,000 to your landscaper and he do a shitty job? No. Would you be happy paying $1,000 to a plumber and the plumber might not do it? No. So why are we allowing elected officials who are getting paid six figures while we broke, busted, and disgusted and they ain't doing nothing? Y'all better get up and get to work.
Ooh.
And if you don't do anything else, if you see organizers and grassroots people like me talking, just share. Just share. Share. That's it. Yeah. That's it. You don't gotta do nothing else but share. If you don't want to do anything else, share. Okay? I don't know what just happened. I'm sorry, y'all.
Now you was talking too much realness.
I was talking too much realness. Instagram says shut it down. Damn, Instagram, why you gotta do that to me?
I'm trying to talk to the people like, okay, like, on. So while I was just reiterating everything you were saying, and I was telling the people that they can just connect with you because you offer some services to help teach people how to live. So talk to us about that.
Yes. Let me tell you something. I have a slew of workshops that if you want to know politics in its most simple, most hoodest and realest form, I got you. I have a workshop that's literally called Power, where I literally teach you to think and move like James St. Patrick. It's crazy.
That's amazing. I might want to sign up.
Because this is how we win. We identify real leaders who are doing the work. So for me, some real leaders that I like to give a shout out to, because I have to give credit where credit's due, so you can look them up. New Deputy Borough President, Diana Richardson. Our new Brooklyn Borough President, Antonio Reynoso. New York State Senator, Jabari Bridgeport. Like, Latrice Walker, Assemblywoman Latrice Walker. Like, these are some real ones. Assemblywoman Farrah Forrest. Like, these are some real ones. Tiffany Caban, New York City Councilwoman. Natasha Williams out in Queens. Right? Real leaders who are out here that are doing the work and know how to live life.
Love it.
Those are the type of people I love to be around because they understand the assignment.
Right.
Meanwhile, you got people, again, I'm gonna stress it because I know I triggered somebody when I said it. We as taxpayers are paying them six figures. And ask yourself, what have they done for you and your community?
What have you done for me lately? Seriously. Somebody has a good question. One of my best friends, she wants to know, which committee meetings can the general public sit in for? So say somebody just forgot everything we was talking about, which y'all better not have, but where can you physically go to see what these people are talking about?
That is a great question, and it's so easy. Let's start on your community board. Community board, go to nyc.gov, type in community boards, find out what your local community board is. You can go there off the rip. They meet every Monday, and depending on your community, they play a huge role. Let's start there. Community boards. You ever want to know why certain street lights are longer than others? You ever want to know why rezoning happens? You ever want to know why sanitation, particular patterns happen the way they happen? It happens on the community board.
Every Monday, y'all. I literally...
Okay, so find out your local community board. On the New York City, on the city level, City Hall. Everybody knows where City Hall is. You're able, if you go on the City Hall, New York City Council website, you can go to committees and schedule where you can see all of the meetings that is open to the public because it's allowed by state law. And you can go to the meeting of the issue that is important to you. So let's say for you, your issue is small businesses. The New York City Council has a business committee. They meet. You as a citizen, an active constituent, get to go to City Hall, say you're here for that meeting, and if you want to testify on said issues, you can do it. And this is where the rubber meets the road. Many of us are dealing with issues from housing to education and everything. And what I say, why don't you come and testify about this? Because those individuals will never know until you show up and speak. We've done this before. Look at our history. And on the federal level, you get to go down to DC and participate in that too. House.gov, Senate.gov. Look at the committees. Unless it says closed to the public, you are more than welcome to attend. Same thing on the state level in Albany. You can get on a $12 megabus ride straight to Albany.
Wow.
Participate.
You know, someone just wrote, we got to start treating city council meetings and school board meetings like sports. We show up to the game, but not the game that really affects us. Treat politics like we treat entertainment and sports. That is a super fact. Because it's really slackness. Like, nobody wants to pay attention because, again, everything seems contrived. You see, but it's kind of like, I don't want to say the government is the enemy. Let me not say that. But it's kind of like you got to study your opponent so you know, like, what you're up against. Even if you don't agree with how things are going, even if you have your reservations, how are you going to change stuff if you don't know their game plan?
Let's go back to the federal level again. Everybody was so lit in our black community, right? Because Moneybag Joe, he came through with those stimmies, right? Those stimmies didn't come out of nowhere. Those stimmies had to get first approved in the House. Then it had to get walked over to the Senate, right? And if the Senate didn't agree, then it had to go back to the House. They had to come up with a new version. The Senate has to come up with a new version, vice versa, and it goes back and forth. You see what I'm doing here, right? Back and forth until there's an agreement where it finally goes to Joe Biden. That stimmy didn't come out of nowhere. It took political work, right? The $15 an hour minimum wage, that didn't come out of nowhere. That came from everyday people like us who had to talk to elected officials on the city level, who had to tell them, those who were working at McDonald's and retail who was getting less than $15 out, they had to speak up to let them know how serious this is. Numbers matter. I'm in these spaces all the time. My CUNY students and my SUNY students, you know why we don't win? Because we don't come out in greater numbers as students. That's why education, higher education, is on the bottom of the totem pole. Right? Until we come out more aggressively, same thing with housing. The mere fact that every housing rally that we had this past week was not filled with at least 5,000 people, because 1.1 million New Yorkers across the state is being affected by this moratorium that ends today. It doesn't, like, you making my job harder. I'm gonna call it what it is. That's the frustrating part. We fight hard to make sure that you get to live, that you get to do what you have to do. And when I see numbers like in 2020, where we came out almost 2 million strong in early voting, but we can't even get 200,000 for an off year, then it's like, well, then we get mad when all of a sudden there's an 80-foot tower that's happening in East New York. Don't get mad when they come, when winter is coming to a community near you.
Yeah, this is so, I don't know about y'all, but I'm like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Because now this really puts this into perspective for me as a person. And this is why we need people like you that actually care. Because look at what everything's filled with. Everything is instant gratification, fame, money, all that. And not to say, listen, I love that stuff. However, like, look at the rent prices in New York. Like, look at everything that's going around. It's just so, much misinformation. And you mentioned a good point about bringing things down in like in the hood way, layman's term. Maybe you could work on actual like booklet or something that we can all, everyone tuned in, can pass around to show our people. We have to show our people that this is important. Jamell is my people, so that's why I brought him on. I'm like, listen, I trust you, and hopefully y'all can take something from this conversation, do the work too, and talk to other people, because it's about word of mouth, for real.
And we want to see how passionate important this is for me. I take this very seriously because I know when my time comes, I expect y'all to hold me accountable. Especially now, after all these years I've been doing this work, I get more scared as I get closer to that next time I run for office. Because I already know, like, look, I have expanded the people who choose to support. So that means when my time comes, I'm better not fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what I've been doing. And my thing is, I believe in integrity. So this is a new thing that I created. AID, authenticity, integrity, delivery. We all do it in our own respective way. And in politics, you have to look at the people doing the same thing. Are they real? Are they standing for what they believe in? And are they delivering? Because that's what elected officials do at the end of the day. The bare minimum is to pass the budget and to pass laws. They ain't doing that to help benefit the upward mobility of who we are. They're not doing their job.
That's so important. And listen, don't be hard on yourself, because you're trying and you're sincere about it. So even if there are mistakes, you're a person at the end of the day. People are not always, just like we said earlier, people is not going to agree with everything, but the fact that you're showing sincerity, you don't have to be doing this. You know what I'm saying? You could be doing whatever, something else. You know what I mean? You could just be bypassing it like the rest of us are. So I hope this conversation has been a lesson for everybody, that there are people out here that care. There are societies or groups just outside of the realm of what we know. You know, this is...
And what's important about that, I'm not just here just always focus on the political work. As much as I love politics, with everything that's going on, I use my hashtag, shut up and live. Shut up and live. I'm doing this work, and you will see me at a party. And people have come to me and said, thank you for doing the hard work. And that means a lot, because that shows that people are paying attention and that this work is not in vain. So even if it's not me, find somebody that you are really passionate about, that is real about doing the work. If you don't see them in your community, they ain't doing the work. Sorry. Keep it local. If you don't see them helping you out in your local community, like the way I'm helping my development, they're not doing the work. Sorry. You got to see it right there and then, because we're living in a city right now that, if I had to put it, there's a tale of two versions. The first version is Welcome to New York by Taylor Swift, and there's Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z and Alicia Keys. Real New Yorkers know that this is the realest New York right here. Not this, okay? Not the, hey, welcome to the... No, because you come and go.
Right.
The gentrifiers that come, y'all not here for the long term. No. Y'all not. We know this. It's the ones that's sticking here, the ones that really are proud of where we come from. The grit, the hustle, and the bustle. Like, we should not be satisfied that it's going to pay $3,000 and this is your room right here.
Yeah.
That's your room.
Pains me. Like, that insane to me that there are people willing to pay $1,000 plus for 400 square feet of nothing. It's not right. And here's the thing, I love to live well and do certain things, but some shit is just preposterous. Like, you're wild. Like, that's... So I love the way that you relate this, but this is what we need. We need people to relay it to us in ways that we understand. Other than that, it's just gonna go over everybody's head. You know what I'm saying? So you putting it to it like, listen, y'all, look at their salaries, look at yours. That was the perfect way. You know what I'm saying? That was the perfect way. So for people that maybe aren't like interested in like running, what are some career paths that like our youth could, you know, take up? What should we be pushing our youth to be doing?
Absolutely. First and foremost, there is an urgent need of Black lawyers. Like, that is among the top of my list. Black and brown lawyers that are not only defenders but prosecutors as well. And we have a whole conversation about that. but we need y'all, right? We need more people who are lobbyists. You want to talk about where money's at? Be a lobbyist for the good reasons, because you could Google and research some of the lobbyists, how much they get paid just to sit down and try to sway a vote.
And for some people that don't
$500,000 for something.
What does lobbying mean for people that
lobbying means it's an opportunity. So let's say, for example, we decide to pass, we're focusing on marijuana legislation across the country. We want to make it federally, legal, right? There are lobbyists who will talk to our U.S. senators, our U.S. members of Congress to try to sway them to not vote for it. And the way that works is deals. So let's say if I'm working for Philip Morris USA, which is one of the largest tobacco industry companies in the world, and you are a senator, I can just pull up and be like, look, here's a case, $800,000. Give me the vote. This is yours. That's lobbying 101. That's big. That's like the basic, on the surface, dirty politics of lobbying.
Yeah.
And think about how many times, especially people who've never seen that money before, right? They see that for the first time. They're like, oh, shoot.
Like,
right? And so we need more people to be lobbyists. We need more people to be housing researchers, right? We need more of those people that does the intense on the ground research to advocate for our experiences, right? Because it's important to have our narrative when we're fighting for our issues, right? We need more of you all to be a part of the actual cabinet. So the lack of senior advisors and chief of staffs and legislative directors, like these are key people in key cabinets. Just take a look in your own special way. Go on Instagram and pay attention to the candidates, the newly elected individuals across the city and state who have created their teams. Pay attention to the makeup and pay attention to the communities that they serve. And I will ask you the basic, most elementary question. Does 2 + 2 = 4? And if it doesn't, do what you got to do to make it right.
That's so important. So you see, guys, y'all don't have to necessarily run for the mayor or the governor, president. You can lobby. You can just have more involvement in law. We need to push our children, to these career paths. Everybody cannot be a TikTok.
We need more organizers. We are desperately in need of fresh new energy of organizers, right? That are unafraid to shake the damn room with me.
Yeah.
That are ready to get fired up, that takes this very seriously, that's not going to be timid, that's going to be able to tell people to get involved. So organizers, like, we need y'all. We need people that are going to constantly fight, not just on the ground and in the streets, but being in spaces at the table with me. And so whether you don't want to be an organizer, be a member. Join my team. Join my family. Citizen Action meets every month. Come pull up. We have our meeting coming up. We're getting ready to talk about relaunching our justice agenda 2022. We would love to have you. There are plenty of organizations that would love to have you. You just got to find the one and get involved. And you don't have to do it all the time. That's the great thing about it. 1 hour makes a difference.
That's so true. And y'all, like, in theory, it's just about putting the time in sometime, doing things that a lot of the times you feel confused or it's overwhelming or just like, I don't want to be bothered with that. But sometimes you do. For me, I relate this to like fitness. Like, I don't want to go to the gym all the time. I don't want to go air out. I want to eat cookies. I want to drink wine. However, the discipline that I put in and the work that I put in, so that when I step out, everyone's like, oh. So we can apply these same things to politics in our lives. Let's all start paying attention to the local officials. Just like you said, it don't gotta be every day, but just, while you already scrolling on Instagram, use Google. I don't know why people use Google. Like, we have all this information. People just still will ask the most basic questions. It's like, go on Google. When I don't know something, I Google it. You know what I mean? But sometimes we do need, like, someone like you to kind of just enforce it and really drive these things home. So I just want to thank you so much. What you're doing is amazing. I learned so much tonight, and I hope everyone else did too. And I'm gonna push everybody into your direction. You know, tell these people where they can to your website or where they can come talk to you, the classes and everything like that. So we can see that. Look at everything that's just going on in my mind. I'm like, yes, classes, yes, everything like that. So where can people reach you to learn some more?
Yes, absolutely. First and foremost, my Instagram page, Jamell.Henderson. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. I don't use Twitter that much. I'm more of an Instagram kind of guy because I will not allow cancel culture to shut me down. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I also, you can reach out to me on email. I have my website. I just recently became a member of the National Black Speakers Network. So I'll be taking my work across the globe. So if you know some corporations or organizations that is looking for some real speakers to come in and shake the room, you can send them my way. But more importantly, just reach out to me on Instagram. You'll see that every day I'm a regular person that's just trying to make a difference. And I will be honored to come and teach you all or give you some tools and connect you guys to get involved, because this is what we're supposed to be doing.
Yes, this is so amazing. I just put your website down there. It looks amazing. You know, I did all the research, and just sincerely, like, I'm so glad we had this conversation. This is so necessary. This, if anything, is encouraging me to pursue my JD even more. I'm going to do it. It's just that, like, for example, I was looking into Brooklyn Law. They have a 2-year intensive, but it's like I have to work at the same time. Like, you know, so we're going to figure it out. But this is another reason why I started this show, because people like us are just watching. Why don't you encourage the youth to do these things, to be involved? We are the OGs now. If not us, then who going to do it? We are the OGs, so start moving like it. You know what I mean? That's the important thing. Nobody's saying you have to be this stickler and you can't have fun. But no, one, you shouldn't, especially at Twitter, you shouldn't just say everything that flies off your brain. You should want to. People are always like, I don't want to be a role model. Sure, but why not? Why wouldn't you want to set a good example for the youth or the people that's coming after us? You know what I'm saying? So shout out to my next president, which is you.
Right, that's right. We're gonna have some fun. I look forward to it.
Yes.
And I want to say to all the people out there, also real, if my friend doesn't tell you, let me tell you, please hold me accountable. You know, if at any given time, if I'm doing the work and I start moving a little funny, I start moving like, what's the name from Django? You know, like who in here in the big house? If I start moving it, y'all have full permission to tap me, be like, that's your warning, and then that's your second warning, okay? Let me, all right? But I don't see that happen, but it's more like, just more importantly, just surround people, have fun, but more importantly, just be supportive of the people that are working and doing this work for you, because we need it. We do need it. And I want to say thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you. I've learned something new. I'm gonna start paying attention. I'm about to sign up for that power class. I just have a mental preoccupation with aspects of life, and I like to know a little bit about everything. So, I mean, I just really hope, at least on my part, to try to encourage more people. Or maybe after this, we can brainstorm on ways to make this knowledge just more accessible to people, because this is helpful. Like, people are so quick to dismiss things they don't understand, but you could literally make a hood handbook and put hood scenarios in there to translate how the political system works. You understand?
So easy. It's so easy. It's so easy. Like, that's, again, I'm going to go back to that simple thing. Just how I broke down inflation, that one simple term. Everybody was like, oh, that's what inflation is. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you start to see your Louis Vuittons go up, when you start to see your Jordans go up, when you start to realize that a hoodie at H&M is not $29.99 no more, that's because of the policies that are impacting everything.
Y'all.
So
I can't be paying $6 for no coffees all the time, y'all. I can't be doing it. Come on, y'all. We gotta work together. So I'm gonna hold myself accountable. I'm gonna brainstorm after this, and again, we're gonna talk and chop it up some more and figure out
yeah.
come together and just maybe throw some little events to get people involved. I'm more than welcome to have you. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate this. This is a great way to start the year.
Yes.
Much success to you and your show. Keep growing and keep supporting her, y'all. This is my good friend. All right? Support her.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody that tuned in. Another successful episode of Excellerant, our first live episode. We're going to save this. We're going to provide you all with Jamell's details if you missed anything. So yeah, and remember y'all, do your civic duty, do your homework, take 2 seconds after this and go figure it out. So
That's right. Let's get to work. Thank you all.
I'll see you all
All right. See you all soon.
Bye.